Happy Draft Week, Steelers Nation. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and welcome in to Steelers Talk Live. We got a bunch of great Steelers content coming your way here over the next hour or so, and we got some great content here to kick off your draft week. First up, sleeper targets for your Pittsburgh Steelers. I've got 31 players that could be taken or are expected to be taken between round 5 and round 7 this year that I think the Steelers should be considering, and you as Steelers fans should be keeping your eye on as we get to day 3 on Saturday. Then the NFL draft kicks off on Thursday, and I've finalized the 13-player list of players that I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are considering with their first-round selection this year. And then I've got my final Steelers Talk mock draft of the draft season today. It's our third segment, 7 rounds. I've got the Steelers making one trade during this mock draft here. My official predictive mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers is coming up later in the show, so make sure you guys stick around to see my selections for the black and gold. We welcome in our producer today, Mr. Jeffrey Cooperstein. Coop, I'm hearing myself a little bit too much in my ear. If we can fix that, that would be phenomenal. But Coop, it's a big week, historic week here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the destiny of this football team, not only in 2025 but beyond, is about to be written. What are your kind of thoughts heading into draft week here when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I'm very curious to see what they do at round 1. I think a lot is going to depend on if they feel like there's a quarterback at 21 that they think is worth taking at 21. If not, and if quarterback is their priority, do they try to trade down?
Yeah, I think that, they've been doing a lot of research on these quarterbacks, and, they haven't really honed in and, done the whole gambit for any of these guys. They're all missing a piece of the process, whether it's not having Khan and Tomlin at the pro day, whether it's not having a top 30 visit, whether it's not having a combine formal. A lot of these guys have multiple pieces of that puzzle missing. So that kind of, hints that the Steelers might not be taking a quarterback. But, we put out a video earlier today about why I think if they do take a quarterback in round 1, I think the target's going to be Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. Tomlin and Khan, he's the only potential first-round quarterback that Tomlin and Khan attended his pro day for. They had dinner with him the night before. Of course, he's got a very similar skill set to Justin Fields. We know how much Mike Tomlin loves these bigger type of rushing-style quarterbacks. And then because they kind of feel like Aaron Rodgers is in their pocket right now, they feel like that they can give Milroe the time to develop into potentially the next Lamar Jackson, the next Josh Allen, the next superstar level quarterback that he does have the upside to be.
I do think that's a dangerous assumption, though, that Rodgers is in your pocket. You better be damn sure that he's signing.
And even if he doesn't, then I feel like because they are a win now team, they'd be more than comfortable trading for Kirk Cousins, who's second year off of an Achilles, and then Derek Carr is another potential option out there.
I'd rather Carr than Cousins, but they both kind of stink.
Yeah, they're both not elevator types, but I guess you can make an argument that they're good fits in Arthur Smith's system. They both play very well off of play action, which this team wants to do. They both throw a decent deep ball, especially Derek Carr, who still has pretty darn good arm strength. But obviously you want Rodgers at this point if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers. It seems like, based on the conversations that they've had with Rodgers, they feel very good that Rodgers will eventually sign with them. So because they have the most information, I'm going to trust them on that, but we'll see how that entire saga kind of plays out. If you guys have a topic on the Pittsburgh Steelers that you want on the show, that you want me and Coop to discuss today, you guys can donate to the show, and we'll talk about whatever topic you want. If you want to talk about Shedeur Sanders, if you want to talk about Jalen Milroe, if you want to talk about Jackson Dart, if you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, whatever you guys want, we can talk about it on today's show. If you guys donate any dollar amount via Super Chat or via Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal, just so you guys know, whenever the Aaron Rodgers news breaks, it seems like it's going to come after the NFL draft this year. We will be going live on this channel, and we will be giving away a Steelers jersey of some kind. If you want to enter into that raffle, it's $20 to enter into that raffle, and also to double your raffle tickets, you guys can send in a Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal to get your raffle tickets in. Then also, if we get to $100 in Super Chats today, we're going to be doing a fan-led mock draft to finish up today's live show, because today is the last live show, guys, on this channel before we go live on Thursday for round 1 of our draft coverage here for the 2025 NFL Draft. So if we get to $100 total in donations today, we will do a fan-led mock draft to finish today's live show. and have a little bit of fun at the end of the program. So if you guys want to double your raffle tickets, if you want to help out the show, you guys can send in your Venmos at Jack-Sperry on Venmo, # Captain Jack 19 on Cashapp, at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. You guys are the real ones. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. So let's see who's all in the chat right now, man. Spam those me's if you have liked the stream. We've got how many people watching live right now? 170 with 30 people liking the show. Those are rookie numbers, man. We got to get those up. We got to get that to at least 50 before we get into our first segment today. Shout out to Reed. Shout out to Nicholas. Shout out to Steelers fan. Brock Walker's here. Nicholas. We've got Omar's Burner. Omar, good to see ya. We got DJ KJ. We got Travis Jake. We got Steeli. We got Nicholas again. We got Reed. Tristan, Isaac, Steelers dad, Kenny Shern. We got Travis, Steelers fan. Christopher says, what's up, Jack? What's up, Christopher? We've got L. We've got Kenny, Travis, Doug, Steelers dad is here. Fisher Productions, DJ KJ, Raymond, Robert Derringer is here. Got a good crew, and of course, my lovely girlfriend, Cassie Voth, is in the chat. Everyone say hi to Cassie when you get a second. Are we good, Coop? I know you're kind of fiddling around with stuff. Oh, so it's kind of... Okay, so if you guys got questions, let me know down there in the comments section. Omar's Burner says, Steelers, let's talk about how I heard the Steelers aren't as high on Sanders as many believe. So Omar's Burner actually did contact me today. He has a source to somebody close to somebody inside the Steelers building, all right? He has sources, all right? So we're taking Omar at his word here. But he had a source that texted him that the Steelers are not that interested in Shedeur Sanders, and apparently they don't think that he's very intelligent when it comes to football IQ. And they thought that his meeting didn't go very well, and they're not going to take Shedeur Sanders. In fact, this source claims that the Steelers are probably not going to take a quarterback in round one, and that they were just doing their due diligence on the quarterbacks in this year's class, and that's why you saw some of the top 30 visits and all that different stuff. Personally, I could see it go either way. I think if they do want to go quarterback, I think what makes sense given their current situation is to do is to go Jalen Milroe, and I think that makes sense because you got Rodgers in the short term. You're going to try to win now in the next 2 years, and then once Cam Hayward retires, then you can kind of pass the torch to a younger quarterback on a rookie contract. And if you have a guy like Jalen Milroe, who's a bit raw, but if he develops in the right way, could become a legit superstar quarterback and franchise-level quarterback 2 years, maybe 1 year down the line here, I don't know if that's an opportunity I want to pass up in round one if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I could also see this team take a defensive tackle, Derek Harmon, Kenneth Grant in the first round if those guys are there. I could certainly see them going running back as well if Omarion Hampton falls to them. They've done a lot of research on Travion Henderson, who a lot of people I trust say is a lock to go in round one. Also wide receiver could be on the table as well if they decide to trade George Pickens. The Steelers could still go in a lot of different ways here, guys. I will say at this point, I think the most likely scenario, based on what I know, based on, just doing some critical thinking, I think that Jalen Milroe probably makes the most sense for the Steelers in round one. Maybe they'd want to trade down and then take Milroe, but obviously there's a lot of reporting out there surrounding Shedeur Sanders, who you've got guys like Adam Schefter, Jerry Dulac, others who are saying that the Steelers are really, really in on Shedeur Sanders. Now, this is what I'll say about the Sanders hype, guys. It could be true, absolutely. Maybe there are sources inside the Steelers building that are leaking this information, and the Steelers really are interested in the Colorado quarterback. But I have heard from a couple of different people at this point that the meeting with Sanders didn't go really as well as some people in the media are projecting it. And, the Steelers want other teams to think that they want Shedeur Sanders. So that's why they're kind of feeding the media this information. It really doesn't benefit the Steelers to have this information out there if they really want Shedeur Sanders at number 21. Why would you let other teams that could potentially hop you in the first round know what quarterback you want to take? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And, Schefter, Jerry Dulac, Todd McShay, these are kind of people in the media that the Steelers have used in the past to kind of put out false narratives that we have seen before. And, whenever I hear, the week of the draft, we really like this player, and multiple reporters are saying that, it tells me that the team is having a coordinated effort to kind of put that message out there, which tells me it's a smokescreen, guys. And then you just think about it practically speaking on the football field. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is a great fit for what the Pittsburgh Steelers want to do. They want to throw the ball down the field, off of play action, from under center. And Shedeur Sanders, he didn't take a single snap from under center last year. It's all shotgun. So he's going to have to completely adjust to a new system if he's drafted here in Pittsburgh. Also, he's got one of the worst deep balls in this class. He's got a weaker NFL arm, and he consistently underthrows his deep passes down the field. And many times it works out because you got Travis Hunter with incredible ball skills, saving the day. You also got Will Shepherd, who made some incredible catches for him last year in Colorado. But, I look at the profile of Shedeur Sanders, and I look at a profile of a guy like Jalen Milroe. If I'm bringing somebody in to play behind Aaron Rodgers and to learn for a year or maybe 2 years, I think I'm going to go with the guy with the higher physical upside like Jalen Milroe. Like, Milroe's got physical traits that Shedeur Sanders just doesn't have. Like, Milroe's one of the more special college runners at the quarterback position we have ever seen with his size and speed combination. He's 225 pounds, and he runs a 4.4 flat 40, all right? And then on film, he's completely dynamic, all right? So, and then he's got a cannon for an arm, which Shedeur Sanders simply doesn't. So, if the Steelers are looking to develop a quarterback behind Aaron Rodgers in the years to come, I think that Jalen Milroe, who is a high-character guy, he's got incredible physical attributes, I think that it makes a lot of sense for them to target him instead of Shedeur Sanders, who's kind of more like a Kenny Pickett type, physically limited, thinks he's more athletic than he really is. I don't know, man. I'm not very high on the Steelers drafting Shedeur Sanders, particularly in round one. My man Justin Watson getting us going with the $2 super chat here says, whoo, Dulac is wrong about everything. So, and the reason why, okay, there's a reason why Dulac is always wrong. It's because the Steelers feed him wrong information. All right, that's what Dulac's role is to the Steelers at this point. He is a useful idiot. Okay, they say, "Hey Jerry, we like this player. Go tell everybody we like this player." Then Dulac goes out there and he goes on Rich Eisen or wherever he goes on, or he writes it for the Post-Gazette, and then everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, Dulac said that the Steelers really like this player." And then, that gets out there, and then everybody in Steelers Nation, everybody out in the general public thinks that that's true, but the Steelers are just trying to get people off their scent, all right? They did this in 2022 when they put it out there that they loved Malik Willis and that they were willing to trade up for him. Then with him still on the board, they took Kenny Pickett in the first round that year. Then, this same thing happened with Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett last year. Oh, we want both of them back. We have full faith in Kenny Pickett. Neither of them are in the quarterback room that season. Then this offseason, we want to bring back either Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. Neither of them are back this year. So, the reporting on this, the Steelers consistently put out wrong information to these reporters. So it's lying season, guys. The Steelers are trying to get teams off their scent, which is why I think the Sanders stuff is complete BS. $5 from my man Chris says, Jack and Coop, help me out here. Mason Rudolph has played better than any Steelers quarterback since Ben. Why are we simping for Rodgers? Why draft Shuck in the third? The reason why they're simping for Rodgers is because they're hoping they can run into some of the late career magic that the Vikings got with Brett Favre, or that the Broncos got with Peyton Manning, or that the Buccaneers got with Tom Brady. All right, like those three quarterbacks, they were either dealing with injury or they had really poor seasons the year before going to new teams. And then, later on in their career with limited mobility, they were able to turn those teams into legitimate Super Bowl contenders. So the Steelers are trying to win now. And I just, I think if you want to get a quarterback to try and play right away, I do think Shuck is the right option. I think he's the most pro-ready outside of Cam Ward in this class. But, plain and simply, guys, quarterbacks in their first and second year as a starting quarterback usually don't win a Super Bowl, all right? And that's what the Steelers want to do, which is why they're trying to get a veteran to help them try and accomplish that goal within the next 2 years. So that's why they are, quote-unquote, simping for Rodgers. And Mason Rudolph, that's not true, by the way. Russell Wilson, I think that, certainly had stretches there where he where he was the best starting quarterback for the Steelers. He had a 6-game stretch where he looked phenomenal. Mason Rudolph had a 3-game stretch, half that time, and we know that it was kind of fool's gold with Russ, so it was probably fool's gold with Mason as well. $10 from my man Brandon Nicholson. Thanks for helping us get to $100 on today's show. Brandon, you're a real one. Another $2. This is just for the great answer. Appreciate it, Jack. Justin, I love you, man. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you stopping by this afternoon. So we finally got some of our technical stuff kind of figured out here, guys. So we will, or kind of, not really, sort of. Okay. So we're going to get into our first segment here. Day 3 draft sleepers. Got 31 players for you guys to keep your eye on here at all the different draft positions of need for the Pittsburgh Steelers for you guys to keep your eye on. Oh, we also have a Venmo coming in here. I will get this to you, Mr. Coop. But I tell you what, man, we got some great content for you guys today. Draft content, draft week content is my favorite week, obviously, because we got a bunch of great stuff. We're going to be live on Thursday. What's up? All right, cool. So Remington brought in the $2 super chat. Remington, we're going to get to your super chat and your question after this first segment here. So without further ado, let's get into our first cut of the day, Day 3 draft sleepers for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Today on Steelers Talk, I've got 31 prospects that, according to the consensus big board, are expected to go mid to late Day 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft. And I think that these are some players that I think could be potential starters down the line that Steelers fans should be keeping their eye on once we get to Day 3. So this week, we're actually doing a sub-battle with the rest of our channels here at Chat Sports in the AFC North. And right now, we are currently trailing the Browns report by 5 subscribers. We got to change that right now. We got to set the tone here during the 2025 NFL Draft Week here. This is going to be going on all throughout the week, guys. So if you haven't clicked that subscribe button right now, if you're new to our show, please click that subscribe button right now so that we can be crowned the Kings of the North for NFL Draft Week here. We give you guys free and extensive Steelers coverage on this channel every single day. So if you want that daily news blast of Steelers news and you want to help us beat the Browns, Bengals, and of course Ravens, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. So Day 3 target positions for me, guys, that could be up there. I didn't put quarterback on there because if there's a Day 2 kind of caliber guy that falls to Day 3, that might be an option for them. But I really don't see any true sleepers at quarterback in this class. So we're going to talk about running backs, wide receivers, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, outside cornerbacks, and then safeties on today's show. So let's start with my running back sleeper targets. And this is a really good running back class, guys. And there's a lot of guys that aren't really expected to go in the first 2 days that I believe are really good players, okay? And Jaden Blue out of Texas had top 30 visit with the Steelers. You got to keep your eye on him because I think he's going to be a really good third down back right away. He's an excellent receiving back, runs in the 4.3s, really, really fast player, and really explosive. Same thing with Trevor Etienne. Fantastic quickness, change of direction. He's got some great acceleration and long speed as well. Not the best vision in the world. He's going to need to get better at that, but he's a player to keep your eye on if the Steelers are looking for a third down back to pair with Jalen Warren. Jordan James reminds me a lot of Kyron Williams, who plays for the Los Angeles Rams. Smaller running back, but really good in the outside zone type of stuff that the Rams and, of course, the Steelers like to run. So Jordan James is somebody you got to keep your eye on. Kyle Monagai, I'm just absolutely butchered that right there. 192nd on the big board here. When you watch this guy on film, guys, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He ran a 4.6, but he's got incredible machine gun feet, great foot quickness, change of direction. He's got phenomenal vision as well. So I think that, his ceiling is a bit capped and limited, which is why he's probably going to go on Day 3. But I think that he can be a contributor in a rotation at the NFL level on Day 1. Jarquez Hunter, if you're looking for a little bit more explosiveness, Hunter's got incredible long speed and acceleration. Once he finds a gap, he can absolutely explode through there and hit some big-time plays. So watch out for the Auburn running back, Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, really productive there with the Red Raiders. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt has been somebody that I watched personally at the Shrine Bowl this year. He was the MVP of the game. He had a phenomenal week of practice. I think he's pretty well-rounded. Then Lan Larison out of UC Davis, absolute stud for UC Davis last year, can play wide receiver as well. He has some incredible one-handed catches on his film. Fantastic acceleration. He just looks like he's playing at a different speed compared to the guys he was playing with there at UC Davis. Then we can shift over to the wide receivers to keep your eye on here. According to the consensus big board, Kobe Hudson out of UCF, not going to blow you away in terms of the testing numbers, which is why he's kind of staying down there in the day 3 category here. But I think he's got some of the best route running in this entire class. He's so technically refined. He reads leverage so well. And I think that he's going to be able to create separation and get open even vertically down the field at the NFL level, even though he's not necessarily super fast or there's nothing really about his physical profile that wows you. His technical refinement, I think he's just a damn good football player and route runner. And if you're looking for somebody that can come in and consistently separate, I think Hudson's going to be able to do that for you. Efton Chisholm III out of Eastern Washington, the number 1 graded wide receiver in all of college football last year, breaks a ton of tackles, is an absolute run after the catch threat. I think that Arthur Smith might be looking for somebody like this in this draft class. Jimmy Horn Jr. out of Colorado, 283rd on the consensus big board right now. Smaller guy, going to be more of a true slot. But this guy is just awesome as a route runner, as somebody that can get open vertically. He does everything fast, all right? He's just such a really smooth player, and even though he's undersized, I think that he can be a hell of a player for the Pittsburgh Steelers if they draft him this year. And then Jordan Watkins out of Ole Miss, I took him in a mock draft here recently on the channel. He's got pretty decent build to him, even though he's a shorter wide receiver. He can play in the slot, can play outside. He had 5 touchdowns against the Arkansas Razorbacks this past year on a day where he almost had 300 yards receiving himself. All right, so he's a deep threat. He runs pretty good routes. He's got pretty good hands. And I was a little surprised when I watched that Arkansas film and saw that he's ranked 311th on the consensus big board right now. Then we switch over to offensive line. I do think that day 3 might be a time where the Steelers are looking at some sleeper offensive line targets. Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State, one of my favorites. He had a phenomenal Senior Bowl week where he went up against some of the best interior linemen in this class and really held his own. Carson Vinson can play tackle or guard from Alabama A&M. He's somebody that once you turn on his film, you just absolutely fall in love with him. He's 162nd on the consensus big board right now. Jalen Travis, an offensive tackle out of Iowa State, super toolsy player that's going to need to develop, and he's not going to be able to play right away, but he's got the tools to develop into something nice. I really like Willie Lampkin out of North Carolina, really undersized player, but plays with phenomenal savvy and technique, and he wins every single leverage battle because he's smaller, but he's got long arms. So he's able to win the leverage battle on every rep that he plays, and you pair that with the technical refinement. I think he's one of the biggest sleepers in this entire class. Then Issa Pohl, an offensive tackle out of Washington State, somebody that I think has some potential in the league as well. And then if you're looking for a center that can also play a little bit of guard, Thomas Perry out of Middlebury, currently ranked 371st. That might be more of a UDFA target for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Now, coming up here, defensive sleeper targets that I think that you should be keeping your eye on this weekend. But before we get into the rest of our Steelers Day 3 draft sleeper targets, let's go ahead and have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time. And guys, I'm someone who likes to go to baseball games on the weekends during the summer to relax and get my mind off of work. Obviously, you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers stuff all day long. You want to take your mind off of it sometimes. And thanks to our friends at Game Time, I can always get guaranteed low price tickets no matter where I want to sit. So I can more frequently watch the Rangers play when I'm here at home or the Pirates play when I take my yearly trip to Pittsburgh. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Steelers Talk by Chat Sports and makes getting tickets to any event faster and easier. All on your phone. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Let's face it, guys, Bob Nutting and the Pirates ownership is probably not going to pay up for Paul Skeens when he eventually becomes a free agent. Therefore, we need to cherish him for as long as he is a Bucko. So use the Game Time app and their guaranteed low prices to give the Pirates organization the least amount of money possible while still taking in beautiful PNC Park and Paul Skeens on the Hill this summer. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS. It's at the bottom of your screen right now. That's CHATSPORTS for $20 off that first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So now we shift to the defensive line and the defense in general of this video here. And, there's some good defensive tackle prospects here that I think could be nice for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Elijah Roberts from SMU is somebody that's gotten a top 30 visit. Same thing with his teammate Jared Harrison Hunt from SMU. JJ Pegues out of Ole Miss also doubles as a fullback. Super fun player there. Yaya Black from Iowa, not Iowa State. 271st overall, big nose tackle type. And then Nazir Stackhouse, a similar type of nose tackle prospect, currently ranked 301st on the consensus big board. Then we can shift to corners here. Kobe Bryant is an undersized corner that I watched during a Shrine Bowl practices here in Frisco, Texas this year, and you could hear, in the indoor practice facility how much shit he was talking to the receivers he was covering. And, I just love the dog mentality that he brings to the table. I think that he probably fits best as a slot player because he does bring a lot of physicality, but he is also undersized. So I think that, if you're looking for a real feisty, kind of pit bull at the nickel position, I think that he is somebody on day 3 that could fit that role. Zoff Frazier from UTSA, is kind of raw, but he's got some nice physical tools that the Steelers can develop behind Darius Slade this year. Justin Wally out of Minnesota, Skyamel, roll the vote, go Gophers. Can play in the slot, can play outside, big-time playmaker. Reminds me a little bit of Beanie Bishop Jr. when he was coming out of West Virginia last year, where he's always around the football, he's always making big plays, only Wally's bigger than Beanie Bishop Jr. is. So if you kind of like the play style of Beanie, where, he's putting himself in position to make big plays, interceptions, that type of stuff. Wally's that type of player, only he's not quite as tiny as Bishop is. Then Tommy Hill, somebody that really does a good job in cover 2, long arms, good size. I think that he's another guy along with Zoff Frazier that could potentially be an outside cornerback that you could develop in this system for 2025. Then you can take a look at the safety targets here. And R.J. Mickens out of Clemson, Jalen Reed, 2 guys that got combine meetings with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, so keep your eye on these 2. Jalen Reed ran in the 4.4s at 210-plus pounds at the combine this year, so he's got some good physical tools to work with. Keep your eye on Jalen Reed out of Penn State. Sebastian Castro, listed as a safety, but I think he played better in 2023 when he played nickel corner, more nickel corner for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And Craig Woodson out of Cal, not necessarily the craziest athlete in the world, really technically refined, good instincts in coverage. I like the Golden Bear in Craig Woodson at 209th overall on the consensus big board. So that'll be it for my 31 sleeper targets for you to keep your eye on as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan this year. Now let's do it one more time here, guys. You gave me an offensive sleeper that you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to draft this year. Now give me a defensive sleeper that you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to draft this year. Let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comment section. And did I miss your favorite sleeper today? If so, let me know who your favorite sleeper is, and we'll have a discussion. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support, of course. We've got extensive NFL draft coverage all throughout draft week. So if you guys want to never miss a video, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. All right, coming up next, Steelers round 1 draft targets. Sounds good. We will get to Remington's Venmo here. And right now, we are at around $31. So we're at around $31. We have to get to $100 in donations today in order for us to do a fan-led mock draft at the end of the show. We still got 2 more segments to go, so still plenty of time. But right now, just to give you guys that update, we're at $31. We need $69 more dollars before we get to our goal. So Remington Roberts, $2 super chat. Appreciate you, Remington. And he has a question here. It says, under the hypothetical that the Steelers take Milroe, do you think that's a 21, or would you think it's a trade back situation? It's a good question here, Remington. And he says, I figure it would be most logical to trade back and grab Milroe and get a day 2 pick. That's exactly my thinking there, Remington, where I think that the Steelers are, in fact, looking to trade down. They lost that day 2 pick to go out and get DK Metcalf, and we all know that they need to address defensive tackle and they need to address running back at the very least, and they need to get potential starters at those 2 positions. If you take a quarterback in round 1, you probably would prefer to be able to address both running back and DT in round 3. So in that scenario, I think that the Steelers would be willing to trade down, and they would be willing to kind of risk Milroe falling to them. And then if Milroe's there, great, they take him. If not, they just take the best player available at those other 2 positions, and then they take quarterback in round 3. So if the opportunity presents itself, Remington, I really think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to trade down. And if Milroe's there, I think they probably take him. If not, I think they could go Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. I think they could go Derek Harmon if he's still there. He's apparently dealing with a little bit of a medical issue. So I think the chances that he's there in late round 1 is probably pretty high. Kenneth Grant is another possibility if he begins to fall. There's still a lot of possibilities for the Pittsburgh Steelers, let's put it that way. But yes, I do think that their plan A is to trade down in round 1. $5 from my man Brandon Nicholson says, hoping we trade back, get a QB round 1, defensive lineman round 2, and in round 3, add depth throughout the rest. Safety in round 3 is what he said. So, you definitely need to add a running back at some point here to be a part of the starting rotation. Jaylen Warren might be their number 1 running back, but they definitely need to, at bare minimum, find his number 2 running back in this class. Kenneth Gainwell, in my opinion, is more of a change of pace, true number 3, that if one of the 2 starters gets hurt, he can come in and be a decent third down scat back for this team. But I do think the Steelers are going to prioritize taking running back at least by round 4. I would be really shocked if they don't take a running back by the 4th round in this year's NFL draft. So that's where I'm at with this whole situation. Another 5 from my man Chris. Says, Jack, hypothetically speaking, if Watt demanded a trade, what could we expect for him? I also wonder if any linebackers in this draft could fill his shoes. Talking about edge rushers, no, nobody's filling the shoes of TJ Watt. I mean, and the ones that potentially could, Abdul Carter, Mike Green, maybe James Pierce Jr. They're not going to be in. Maybe James Pierce Jr. would be, but it's not going to happen. Chris, I know you're saying hypothetically speaking, but this is just such a low percentage thing that probably just won't happen, all right? Especially not before the draft. So I don't think edge is going to be a big priority for the Steelers. They only had 1 edge rusher visit in a top 30 visit this year in Shamar Stewart. But even he's got good size to potentially play 5 technique instead of true outside linebacker if that's what they want to do. So I just think that there's pretty much a 0% chance TJ Watt gets traded at this point. And if you guys want to send in a Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal like my man Remington, we get to keep more of the proceeds of the money that you guys send in. YouTube takes a 30% cut, and Apple takes another 10% cut of all the super chats you're sending in today. But if you want us to get more of your donation dollars, you can send them in to @Jack-Sperry on Venmo, # Captain Jack 19 on Cash App, and @Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. We're certainly getting closer here, ladies and gentlemen. We're certainly getting closer. I think we are still $69 away from doing the fan-led mock draft. So if you guys want to get a couple 10s in there, a couple 20s even, get us closer to 100, we would greatly appreciate it. If you got a question, of course, don't be shy. Get those super chat donations in there so that we can talk Steelers football together. What's up? Prize picks here, yes. Okay. So we are getting into our next segment here, which is my finalized list of 13 players that I believe are on the table for the Steelers to take in round 1 of the 2025 NFL Draft this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today on Steelers Talk, I'm going to be breaking down my finalized list of 13 players that I could realistically see the Pittsburgh Steelers taking in round 1 of the NFL Draft on Thursday night. Before we get into the content today, predict it for me down there in the comment section. Who will Pittsburgh take in round 1 this year? Predict it for me. Are they going to take a quarterback? Are they going to take a defensive player? Are they going to take a running back? Are they going to surprise people? Are they going to trade out of round 1? Give me your prediction for round 1 on Thursday night down there in the comments section, and let's talk some Steelers football. So first up here, I want to start with the quarterbacks because, of course, all the discourse this week and all the smoke and all the intrigue is what are the Steelers going to do at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers not on the roster right now? Are they going to take a quarterback in round 1? If they don't, are they going to take one in round 3 or in round 4? There's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, and there's a lot of smoke that the Steelers are considering a quarterback in round 1 this year. But plain and simply, guys, no one really knows what's true. All right, it's lying season. There's a bunch of different people and a bunch of different reports out there as to who the Steelers are kind of targeting at this point in the season. And, based on kind of my interpretation of what's, out there right now and the things that I think make sense for the Steelers given where they're at as an organization, I do think that the Steelers, if they do take a quarterback in round 1, I think that their number 1 quarterback target would be Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. And there is a lot of different reasons for why I believe that they could potentially get Jalen Milroe as their starting quarterback. Now, we did a whole video on this on the channel, guys. So you guys can check out our in-depth Milroe video where I break down my reasoning for why I think Milroe makes the most sense over guys like Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, and Tyler Shuck in this class. Of course, Cam Ward isn't going to be available for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. So there's a lot of lying going around out there. No one really knows what's going to be going on. But my best guess right now, based on where the Steelers are as an organization, that Jalen Milroe will be the pick if it's a quarterback in round 1. But pick your quarterback down there in the comment section. Who do you think it's going to be? If it's a quarterback in round 1, type SS for Shedeur Sanders, type JD for Jackson Dart, type TS for Tyler Shuck, type JM for Jalen Milroe. And this will be the pinned comment on today's show. So in just a second here, YouTube's going to throw you an ad break. And while YouTube throws you that ad break, make sure you get down there in the comment section. Let me know which quarterback you want in round 1. So again, guys, if the Steelers do take a quarterback in round 1, I do believe that their target will be Jalen Milroe here. And before we get into the rest of today's show, let's have a word from our sponsor here at PrizePicks. And PrizePicks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash today. With millions of members, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all, and you just pick more than or less than on at least 2 player stat projections for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It's free to download on your phone right now, and PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. The app is really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more than or less than on a few player stats for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your money. You can also turn your player hot takes into tickets to basketball championship series. Every lineup you make on PrizePicks will enter you in the Takes 2 ticket sweepstakes, which could get you and a +1 a VIP trip to the championship. So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. You guys can see on screen right now kind of an example of what a PrizePicks projection looks like. They've got demons and goblins, so the demons are the harder to get projections. The goblins are the easier ones. We're taking the demon on Karl Anthony Towns, taking the more on assists at 3.5, taking the less on points for Aaron Gordon, and then the more on Jamal Murray from the Denver Nuggets with 9.5 rebounds plus assists. You can download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Another position outside of quarterback that I think that, Steelers fans shouldn't be shocked if the Steelers go this route in round 1 is running back. They've done a lot of research on a lot of the top running backs, and, Ashton Genty's going to be off the board. It's not going to be a possibility for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or at least I don't think he will be. I think the 2 realistic options in round 1 for the Steelers that they've done a lot of research in is Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina and Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. Now, I believe Hampton, is going to come off the board before the Steelers pick at 21. At the very latest, I think he comes off the board to Denver at number 20, a team that really needs a running back right now. And I don't think the Steelers are going to be willing to trade up for him. All right, so Travion Henderson, I would probably say, is the more likely round 1 target at running back. If the Steelers take a running back in round 1, I think that it's probably going to be him. Maybe there's an outside chance that, if the Steelers trade down to like 31 with the Chiefs, that they might take like Caleb Johnson out of Iowa, who's an excellent fit for Arthur Smith's offense. But right now, I'd say these two are the most likely running back targets in round 1 for the Steelers. Then there's also 2 defensive tackle targets that I think could be options for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Like we've talked about on this show, guys, running back and defensive tackle are really can't miss positions for the Steelers this year. Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Have a really good feeling he's going to be available, guys. He's been flagged for some injury concerns, and the Steelers have had no problem taking players with injury concerns in recent years. Corey Trice Jr., Troy Fautano, their first-round pick last year, was flagged for knee issues. So if they really like Harmon, I think that he will be available at number 21 if that's the way they want to go. And I do think they've shown enough interest in Kenneth Grant where they may consider taking him if he falls to number 21 as well. When it comes to a cornerback target, I think the only guy that I could really see them taking in round 1, because outside they're covered for this season. Joey Porter Jr. and Darius Slay, I don't think they want to take a developmental guy at corner in round 1. Jahdae Barron out of Texas, he's got outside versatility, so if you need him to play on the outside, he can. But I think he can be an impact player as a nickel defender. He's a former boxer, so he's really good in his hand fighting ability, and he's super physical, which I absolutely love. Tested great at the combine this year as well. So if they want an impact player in the slot on day 1, I think Jahdae Barron could be their guy. They had a formal meeting with him at the NFL Combine this year. No top 30 visit, which certainly hurts his chances of going in round 1, but I wouldn't say it's an impossibility if he falls to the Steelers in the first. Then we get to the only safety target that I think they could potentially take in round 1 this year, and that's Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina. And they've put in a lot of interest in Emenwari, man. They had a top 30 visit with him. They had that formal combine meeting with him. They have shown a lot of interest in Emenwari, and he's big, he's fast. Perfect 10 out of 10 relative athletic score this year. Personally, I would pass on Emenwari in round 1 because, for a bigger guy, I don't think he's a very good run defender. I think he takes a long time to diagnose the run. His average depth of tackle is over 7 yards, which is terrible. I think he's a pretty decent and reliable open field tackler, and obviously he's got the athletic chops to be a potential impact player. But I think the Steelers might be looking for somebody that's a little bit more reliable as a run defender. So who knows? Maybe they take Emenwari in round 1, but I would personally not do that if I were the black and gold. But I do think that he could be a dangerous bandit safety. And if you're not familiar with bandit formations, that's when the Steelers put 3 safeties on the field. And this has been popularized by the Mike McDonald and the Brian Flores styles of defenses. And Mike Tomlin has dabbled in 3 safety packages as well with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He likes going to those 3 safety packages. So I could certainly see Emenwari as somebody that can roam in the middle of the defense as a third safety and just try to make plays as an intermediate, kind of buzzing defender that can play that kind of role. So I could certainly see Emenwari play that role. If they take him, I think that's probably the vision that they have for him. But personally, like I said, I would probably pass on Emenwari and take a safety later in the NFL draft. So finally here, let's talk about wide receivers because I think that this is a position that is probably lower percentages because, listen, man, if they trade George Pickens, I do think this becomes a possibility. And even if they don't trade him, I guess it's still slightly a possibility because George Pickens is slated to be a free agent next offseason, and maybe they want to make sure that they give DK Metcalf a running mate for the next 5 years that he's going to be in Pittsburgh. And, I think that Pittsburgh would be open to trading George Pickens, all right? I don't think they want to give him a big contract. And, I think that if the team was willing to give him a day 2 pick in exchange for George, I think that they would be willing to do that and then immediately replace him as the number 2 receiver on this team with a first-round pick if some team out there is willing to come to the table. But my prediction is nobody is going to come to the Steelers with a day 2 pick either in round 2 or in round 3. I think the most that they get an offer for is round 4. I think that's not good enough to accept a trade for George Pickens. And the reason for that, guys, it's not because of how talented George is. George's talent is worth arguably a first-round pick, maybe a second-round pick. But because of the punctuality issues, because of the fighting issues, because of the effort issues we see on film, it's a big risk for a team to trade for him. And, if you trade a day 2 pick for him, you're pretty much slated to give him a new contract, which I don't think any team at this point is willing to do. At the very most, I could see a 5th-round pick for George Pickens. And if that's the case, and you are looking for a new wide receiver too, I think the three guys that are possibilities here are Matthew Golden out of Texas, Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State, and Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. Steelers did a lot of research on Jaden Higgins and Matthew Golden during this draft process. They like both of them a lot. They had a formal combine meeting with Emeka Egbuka, but they didn't have a top 30 visit for him. Maybe that's just because they feel good about who he is as a person. They didn't really feel like they needed to bring him in on a top 30. I would probably say Egbuka is probably the last on the list. I think they would prefer Golden or Higgins in round 1 over Egbuka at this point in time, but I do think it is an outside chance that Egbuka ends up being the pick. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Will George Pickens still be a Steeler after the draft this week? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section. I think he will be, and we'll see how the contract negotiations and stuff like that go this offseason. They may still trade him this offseason later on, but I don't think any team this weekend is going to give the Steelers the draft pick that they're looking for in order to accept the deal. That'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk, guys. Real one roll call here. If you made it to the end of the show, that makes you a real one. So let me know down there in the comment section who all my real ones are. Really do appreciate you guys making it to the end of today's show. And make sure you click that subscribe button, because if you made it to the end of today's video, we got more Steelers content coming your way tomorrow, as well as the rest of NFL Draft Week. So thank you guys so much for stopping by today. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right. Second segment in the books. Did we just not have the full screens available to us there? Gotcha. Yep, that's fine. Okay, man. So coming up next is my final Steelers mock draft of the year. As you guys know, if you've been watching our live shows, I haven't been repeating picks all draft season. Every single one of our, I believe it was 9 Steelers mock drafts this draft season before this last one had all different players. I did not repeat picks. There were some small exceptions there, but I gave good reasons for those exceptions. And now it's my final mock draft. This is my official best guess as to how the Steelers NFL draft will pan out this week. All right, so I can't wait to get it going. $2 from my man John Stevenson says Shiloh Sanders, hard hitter, Steelers type hitter. Listen, man, Shiloh. All I have to say, guys, is watch DJ Giddens' film versus the Colorado Buffaloes. Shiloh Sanders might have missed 10 tackles against him in that game. It was a terrible performance. And then at the Shrine Bowl, all right? And by the way, like these All-Star games, these college All-Star games, like Senior Bowl is at the top, Shrine Bowl is kind of on the next level. It's a lower tier All-Star game. Shiloh Sanders was getting cooked by players at the Shrine Bowl, man. Like, he's not a good player, in my opinion. Because he's Deion Sanders' son, there's going to be some people that believe in him. And I think he does bring some, good attitude to the table, but he's not a great athlete. He's not particularly a good tackler, in my opinion, or at least not a consistent one. And he's just such a liability in coverage. So I think he goes undrafted. I'm not, he's going to sign on somewhere. I'm sure, the team that drafts Shadur is going to, bring him in as a UDFA to make Shadur and, of course, Prime happy. But I would be shocked if Shiloh Sanders is on an NFL final roster come the regular season. That's what I'll say about Shiloh. That's my opinion. John, you seem to believe in him a little bit more. That's all right. But personally, I'm a little bit lower on Shiloh. Again, guys, we're going to be doing a fan-led mock draft if we can get $69 more. So we're $69 away from doing a fan-led mock draft after this next segment. So if you guys want to send in a donation, you guys can send it to Venmo at Jack-Sperry, # Captain Jack 19 on Cashapp, or at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal. And of course, you can just super chat here on YouTube as well. $69 away. So we'll see if we can have kind of a team effort here to get to that $100 mark. Some would say that that's pretty nice there, Coop. So $100 to get there. Really do appreciate your guys' support. $69 away from doing this fan-led mock draft. So we got over 250 people watching live. You guys have been phenomenal during this live program. Are we ready to get into our next segment here? Is everything good to go? All right, Coop's given me the green light here. So without further ado, it's been long last year. It's our 10th mock draft here on Pittsburgh Steelers Talk this offseason, and it's our final one. So enjoy it here. I put a lot of time and effort into this one. So without further ado, let's get into my final mock. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and this is my final mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers for the 2025 NFL draft season. We put out a lot of mocks on this channel in weeks prior. In the ones before this one, I haven't been allowed to recycle players, and I had to find new players each and every week. But now this is my official prediction, my best guess as to what the Steelers' 2025 NFL draft will look like this year. So I hope you guys enjoy. Before we get into it today, though, tomorrow is our live draft coverage. This video is going to be going out on Wednesday, the day before the NFL draft. But on Thursday, our live draft coverage begins. We're going to be live for every single pick of the 2025 NFL draft. We're going to give extensive coverage of every single pick the Steelers make. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Giveaways, all this different stuff. It's really our biggest weekend of the year. So if you want to come help support us, join us on Thursday night. Click that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. Do all that fun stuff. Really do appreciate all of your guys' support that you give to this channel. Okay, now let's get into our first. Actually, we have our trade here to kick off my final mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I do think that the Pittsburgh Steelers want to trade down. I think that, after losing that second-round pick in exchange for DK Metcalf, they have certain needs that they want to address early: quarterback, defensive tackle, running back. And I think that they would love to recoup a day 2 pick here. So I think that they're going to move down, but I don't think they're going to move down too far. I think the Houston Texans would like to move up to secure whoever their favorite offensive tackle is on the board at that point. And I think they'd be willing to give the Steelers one of their third-round picks, number 89 overall, in order to move up those few spots. And, of course, that's very strategic because the Los Angeles Rams are at number 26, and I think they might be a threat to take the quarterback that I think the Steelers might be targeting, which if you've been watching our channel this week, I believe it's Jalen Milroe. I believe that the Steelers are looking to get Jalen Milroe to be a developmental type quarterback, to learn behind a veteran quarterback this year as the team tries to win now in this 2-year window before Cam Hayward retires, and then whether that's Aaron Rodgers, whether that's Kirk Cousins, whether that's Derek Carr, and then once that kind of 2-year period and that window is over, hopefully Milroe will be fully developed by that point. You guys can take a look at my reasoning for why I think Milroe is going to be the preferred quarterback option for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. I do think Pittsburgh, because they're in a win-now kind of mindset, they're going to want Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr as their starting quarterback. And because of that, I think they're going to be looking for more of a developmental type quarterback. If you're going to be looking for a developmental guy, why not go with the guy with the highest upside? In my opinion, that's Milroe. And then also Milroe has the kind of character and work ethic coming from a military family background that you want to bet on. He was the academic Heisman last year, finished a master's degree in just 4 years while playing quarterback for the Crimson Tide. This is a very high character individual and somebody you want to believe in. I put out a video earlier this week, guys, breaking down my entire reasoning for why I think the Steelers are going to be pursuing Jalen Milroe in round 1. That is, if they take a quarterback. You can check out that video on the channel after today's show if you would like. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Who will the Pittsburgh Steelers select with their first-round selection this season? I'm predicting it's going to be Jalen Milroe after a trade down, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a few seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time by letting me know who you think the Steelers' first-round selection will be this year. So in round 3, I'm going to take Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa. Now, you might be saying, Jack, Caleb Johnson, there's no way he's going to make it to round 3 for the Steelers to take. And you might be right. I think he could go pretty much as early as like pick number 33 at the top of round 2 to the Cleveland Browns. And, I think that he's a really freaking good player. It's a very decent chance that he's not here at number 83. But somebody in this group is going to fall to the Steelers at number 83, in my opinion. All right, you take a look at the top 6 running backs on the consensus big board as we stand here today. Ashton Jeanty, he'll be off the board long before the Steelers pick, even in round 1. Hampton and Travion Henderson are 2 guys that the Steelers have done a lot of research on, could potentially be first-round picks for them. Quinshon Judkins is another guy that could potentially fall in this group, and I'd be perfectly happy with if he ends up being the pick here. Caleb Johnson, I think, is a phenomenal fit for what the Steelers want to do on offense. And then Cam Scatabo is another guy that the Steelers could consider as well, even though they really haven't shown too much interest in Scatabo during the draft process to this point. So listen, man, somebody in that group, in my opinion, is going to fall to round 3. And, if any of them is going to fall, I think it would be Johnson, because he is a little bit less scheme diverse than some of the other guys on that list. I think he needs to be in a heavy outside zone style of offense where he can put his foot in the ground, use his incredible vision to find cutback lanes, and then explode to the second level and third level for big-time gains. That's exactly the type of offense the Steelers want to run. He can be the thunder to Jaylen Warren's lightning from day one. He's got great size, really good long speed to get, make big plays. I think Johnson would be the best possible fit in the middle rounds at running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So here's to hoping he falls to them in round 3. Also in round 3, with the pick we got from the Houston Texans, I'm going to take a cornerback out of Kansas State, Jacob Parrish, who I have really fallen in love with during this process, guys, because I just love the physicality and really the savviness that he plays the position with. This guy is just a football player. And even though he is undersized, which is why I think he's going to be a day one starting slot receiver, he actually showed some good things on the outside in college. And there's a chance that when Darius Slay retires after the 2025 season, maybe you think about putting Parrish in on the outside next to Joey Porter Jr. That could certainly be a possibility for him moving forward. But if he just sticks in the slot, I think that fixes this big problem that the Pittsburgh Steelers had on their defense last year. With Beanie Bishop Jr. made some interceptions, but he was a liability in coverage because he's just not very big. And then, Cam Sutton, as we know, was an absolute dumpster fire in the nickel last year. So you can put in Jacob Parrish, who's got some really great physicality. I think that he's really good in coverage, both in man and in zone, can play both. And I think that he could be a really good player for this team in the nickel as they look to really solidify this secondary for the future. And like I said, he's got tons of experience playing on the outside, and actually love his outside cornerback film. So even though, maybe he doesn't have the measurables that you necessarily look for, he could absolutely be a future CB2 type of option on the outside to replace Darius Slay. And he brings some really good speed and explosiveness to the table. You can see he's not the biggest guy in the world, definitely not the tallest, but he's got 4.38 speed, so he's got incredible wheels, great acceleration, as well as you can see with that 10-yard split. He's just a really good athlete and a damn good football player. So I think that in round 3, this is more than worth it for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So coming up here, I got my day 3 picks for your Pittsburgh Steelers in my final mock draft of the 2025 draft season. But before we get into the rest of this mock draft, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Game Time. And I'm someone that likes to go to baseball games to kind of wind down on weekends, relax, and kind of get my mind off of work. Because obviously with the Aaron Rodgers saga kind of filling up my brain at least 5 days a week, I like to, take my mind off of things and take in a ball game from time to time. So whether I'm going to Globe Life Park here in Arlington, Texas to watch the Rangers play, or if I'm in Pittsburgh for my for my yearly training camp trip and I go to PNC Park, I can get last-minute tickets at lowest price guaranteed with our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Steelers Talk by Chat Sports and makes getting tickets to any event faster and easier, all on your phone. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. And with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And let's face it, guys, Bob Nutting and the Pirates ownership group is just probably not going to pay up when it comes to Paul Skeens when he eventually becomes a free agent. Therefore, we need to cherish him for as long as he is a Pittsburgh Pirate. So use this Game Time app here and their guaranteed low prices to give the Pirates organization the least amount of money as possible while still taking in beautiful PNC Park and Paul Skeens on the Hill this summer. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS. It's right down there in the bottom of your screen right now for $20 off that first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So here in round 4, I'm going to take somebody to take the Larry Ogunjobi spot in the defense, and J.J. Pegues, defensive tackle and also fullback out of Ole Miss. Now, this is one of the funnest players in the entire class to me, guys, because he's very quick and he's very disruptive. He can get in the backfield pretty consistently, both against the pass and against the run. Now, I do think he needs to be much more consistent in terms of taking on blocks as a run defender. He's more of a gap shooter than somebody that's going to take on blocks, even though he's got the physical frame to eventually develop into that type of player. He's got good lower body strength, all this different stuff. He just doesn't know how to really utilize it at this point. And I think this is the type of player that Mike Tomlin feels like he can, and his staff can develop into a future starter, while him being somebody that can play the Larry Ogunjobi role right away as the starting 5 technique when this team goes into their 5-man fronts, where you would have TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith on the edge. Then, of course, you have Keanu Benton in the nose, and then you have Cam Hayward at the 3 technique, and then Pegues is somebody that can shoot gaps, somebody that can be a disruptor, from day one as a 4th-round pick. I think that's an incredible value here. And I think that this would be perfectly fine to start here in 2025. And if you need more of a true run defender on an early down or something like that, you can put Daniel Equale, who's a really good run defender at the 5 technique if you don't trust Pegues out there on early downs. But if you want to go to your base formations here, especially on 3rd downs, on 2nd and longs, I think Pegues can be an instant type of contributor in this rotation. Plus, he can double as a massive fullback, man. Like, this would be so much fun. I mean, we experimented last year with Connor Hayward at fullback. It didn't necessarily work out great. And I'm not necessarily going to say Pegues is somebody that's gonna work out if they put him at fullback in the league. But I do think that it'd be fun to try. It would certainly make Latrobe interesting. And I think that with his massive size, he could be a hell of a blocker. He can get out in space. Like I said, he's a pretty darn good athlete for his size. And then if you want to give him the football at the 1-yard line or on 4th and 1s, I mean, it's definitely going to help out a team in a run game here that was one of the worst at converting 3rd and 4th and shorts last year. So I think that this is a player that can help the Steelers in more ways than one. Then in round 5, I think they're going to go Jalen Reed, safety out of Penn State. Of course, this is somebody with some really nice physical tools, right in the 4.4s at the combine. Weighed in at over 210 pounds, so he's got some really good size to him. I do think that, his instincts need to get a little bit faster. His mental processing needs to get a little bit faster, but I really like the physical tools here, and I think the film is good enough where you can believe in this guy to, put in your building, develop for a little while, and eventually take Juan Thornhill's role as the 3rd safety in this defense. I actually think that, from a physical standpoint and then as a play style standpoint with the ball skills, with the physicality, with the aggressive nature that they play with as kind of ball hawking type of players, I think that, Thornhill and Reed are very similar type of guys. And whereas Thornhill may be getting a little bit older, he's on a short-term contract, Reed could have potentially take this 3rd safety type of role if that's the case. And the Steelers really prioritize having this type of player in their defense moving forward. Then you get to round 6 here, and Pegues is not a real run defender, so I'm going to go get a true run defending type of player for your pretty much pass heavy or run heavy downs. And Yahya Black, defensive tackle out of Iowa. Steelers have shown a lot of interest in this dude. And listen, he's a 2-down player. He's not going to provide anything in terms of pass rushing, all right? So he's going to be out there as a true nose tackle on 1st and 2nd downs when you need him to in the rotation. And he's damn good at it, all right? Like, he's going to be able to do that right away. But obviously, because he's one-dimensional and because he doesn't provide a lot of pass rushing upside, he's going to go a little bit lower in the NFL draft. But I think the Steelers are perfectly fine with that. They already got their penetrative type of defensive tackle in J.J. Pegues. Now you can get a guy in Yahya Black that can maybe give the Steelers some versatility here, where maybe they can put Cam Hayward at 5 technique and Keanu Benton at 3 technique with Black in the middle. I mean, that is an absolute wall of people in the middle of your defense if you're expecting a run. Late game situations, stuff like that, I think Black can be a real run-stuffing presence for the Steelers. And in round 6, I think it's worth the value. Then in round 7, I'll finish out the draft with a wide receiver, one of my favorite sleepers in this class, Jordan Watkins out of Ole Miss. My journey with Watkins kind of started when I was watching Jackson Dart film. I was watching his game against Arkansas, and I was like, who is this number 11 guy that has 5 touchdowns and over 250 yards receiving and over 30 yards per catch? He's got to be – there's no way he's draft eligible, right, because he'd be going in the first 2 rounds. Turns out it's Jordan Watkins who's expected to go late day 3. So I feel like this is somebody that can be explosive. He can win down the field. He brings some good size to the table as well. And he runs in the 4.3s. He's got speed. He's got decent hands, decent route running. There's a lot to really like with Jordan Watkins' game, especially as a round 7 player. So this wide receiver room, I think the Steelers kind of like it right now. I do think they love DK Metcalf, obviously. I think that they'd be fine with GP, George Pickens, being here as the wide receiver 2 for one more season. Then you got Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III, 2 players that they still believe in. And then Watkins can find a role here, all right, wherever it is. Outside, inside, as a rotational piece to start his NFL career. This guy's just a good football player, in my opinion, and it gives you good depth in the wide receiver room with your 7th-round pick. So that's my final mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. My best guess as to what the Steelers draft will look like this year. Jalen Milroe, your developmental future franchise quarterback in round 1. Caleb Johnson in round 3 falls to you. Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State, really good corner, falls to you in round 3 as well. J.J. Pegues is a penetrative 5 technique. Jalen Reed as somebody that's going to be a developmental safety, potential future starter for you. Yahya Black as a rotational run-stuffing defensive player. And then Jordan Watkins, somebody that I think has a chance to really make a name for himself in Pittsburgh if he ends up coming here. So grade my mock draft down there in the comments section. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. I'm guessing if you don't like Milroe, you're giving it an F down there in the comment section. But if you love Milroe, you're probably giving it an A. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. That's where I'm at. That's my best guess. Give me your Steelers mock drafts down there in the comments section as well. And let me know who you think the Steelers take in round 1. Because, probably none of these picks are going to be correct. Maybe 1 or 2 of them are right. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see what ends up happening. And I can't wait to see what Omar Khan has up his sleeve. So I will see you guys later. And until next time, here we go, Steelers. All right. 3rd segment in the books. What's up? I got a Venmo. Okay. I did. I got 2. All right. We got a Cashapp and a Venmo. So the show's not over yet here, folks. If you guys want to keep it going right now, okay. So Coop cannot. So Coop, we have an issue with Coop's mic here. So we're not. So he's not able to join us here. He's here in spirit, he says. So if you guys got questions, let me know down there in the chat. We're going to take 2 questions here with the 2 Venmos that just came in. And we'll keep going as long as the Venmos and donations keep coming. And if we get to 100, we'll do a fan-led mock to finish out today's show. I would say right now we are, how far are we away here, Coop? 69 plus minus 25. What would that be, 44? $45 away. So if someone wants to put in a $50 donation, you'd be buying this entire community a fan-led mock draft. But first, $5 from Donna Elliott. Thank you so much, Donna. Says, I hope they work on the offensive line. Listen, man, I've been saying this for a while on this show. The Steelers like their offensive line, man. And I understand a lot of people are like, how could they possibly like this offensive line? It was terrible last year. Well, number one, there was injuries. Troy Fautano obviously missed most of the season, only played in 1 game. Looked pretty good in this 1 game, but he only played in 1 game. He's going to be back. Then Mason McCormick had to make a position change while also getting used to the speed of the NFL game. So hopefully after a full offseason working on the right side, McCormick looks a lot better. I loved McCormick coming out. I had a round 3 grade on him coming out of SDSU last year, and that's a pretty high grade for me for an interior offensive line player. So I still think McCormick can be a starting capable player. The Steelers feel the same way. Obviously, Zach Frazier established himself as a top 10 center in the game last year. Isaac Seumalo has been rock solid his entire career. And then Broderick Jones, I think, is kind of the biggest question mark to me because he's just been so bad on the right side. But he's said time and time again, man, he's more comfortable on the left. He was dealing with an elbow injury last year, which it's like, if you're playing, it's not really an excuse. But, he's not going to have that elbow issue that he was playing with last year. And he's going to be playing at the position he was playing at his entire life before coming to the Steelers, where they say, you got to move over to the right side, like absolute idiots. So hopefully Broderick looks better. He's still got first-round pedigree. He's still a great physical talent. It's just going to be a matter of if he develops heading into year 3. And if he does, and if McCormick does, and if Fautano stays healthy, I mean, I can see the vision. I can see why the Steelers feel like the investment they've already made on this unit is already good enough. So I'm not going to rule out that they take an offensive lineman on day 3. They did that last year with Mason McCormick, and they might do the same thing this year with Sayamalu slated to be a free agent here shortly. But, you know, when I look at the situation here, guys, I don't think they're going to draft a starting caliber player in the draft this year. Then we got Steelers Dad, my man, $20. He says, let's do the fan mock draft. As always, appreciate your hard work, Jack and Coop. And then we just got another Venmo here. So we are still, what, $45 away? Is that okay? We've got $31 in super chats. I just got a 20, so that's already 51. And then gotcha. All right. We got another Cash App here, another question. So we're $42 away, all right? We're still $42 away. Appreciate you, Steelers Dad. And, of course, Steelers Dad, we appreciate you. Appreciate your support. We got $2 Venmo from my man Brian Ruiz. Says, I don't believe the players are necessarily the issue. If the talent is there, the issue is Pat Meyer, and he was retained for another season. Unbelievably, truly shaking my head. Yeah, man. Listen, we literally put a video on this channel saying the Steelers got the worst possible news when we heard Pat Meyer was returning to the Steelers this year. Obviously, Mike Tomlin sees something in him. I don't know if the players in the locker room just pound the table for him or what. But he's been here multiple seasons, and has he really developed like one good player? I mean, Zach's a good player, but he was a good player at West Virginia. So, like, I don't know how much development Pat really made with him. I mean, if they could bring back Munchak, that would be unbelievable, man. But that's not going to happen. So I'm right there with you, Brian. I can see why the team feels like they have enough talent in the room. It's just a matter of developing that talent. And to this point, Pat Meyer has failed at that. And if you are somebody at home saying, I don't trust Pat Meyer to develop an offensive line, I can't blame you, man. I truly can't. So I completely understand that concern with the Steelers team this year. All right, Coop, I'd say let's put a 3-minute shot clock on here. If we don't get the $42 needed to do the mock draft, unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye for the day. But we're $42 away, 3 minutes to get that additional $42. All right, so if you guys want to do a fan-led mock draft, we can get a couple more donations. Our bosses told us we couldn't do it today unless we got $100. All right, so this isn't from us. This is from our bosses saying it's not worth it unless we get 100 today. So Reed Wharton really wants people to donate. He's saying, please donate. Ah, 2.5 minutes here, $42 away. So Coop is asking, odds the Steelers take Shadur Sanders. So first of all, I have this creeping suspicion the Browns are going to want to trade up ahead of the Steelers because they're probably going to take Travis Hunter here. It's almost a done deal. They're going to take Hunter at 2. Unless you believe Slick Rick, who says Abdul Carter is still on the table at pick number 2. I think whoever takes Shadur Sanders, that team, whether it's the Giants or whoever takes Travis Hunter, whether it's the Browns or the Giants, I think they could trade up ahead of the Steelers. Because right now, the Steelers are doing their work. They're doing what they do best, manipulate the media to make people think that they want a player. This is what they do every year. We have full faith in Kenny Pickett. We want Mason Rudolph back. We're going to bring back Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. We love Malik Willis. Every year the Steelers do this shit, and people, when Dulac brings out new reports, we once again just go, oh yeah, this has got to be true. And it's like, no, like let's learn our lesson for once. All right, Jerry Dulac gets fed. He's a mouthpiece. That's what he is. He puts out information the Steelers want out there. And right now, they want everybody out there to know. They want Shedeur Sanders. And when a team is out there and, reporters are out there saying this team really wants this player, this is the same thing with the Broncos and J.J. McCarthy last year. Sean Payton and the Broncos all throughout draft week. What were all the reports? The Broncos love J.J. McCarthy. What do the Vikings do? They trade up ahead of him and take McCarthy so that they can get Bo Nix, the guy that they actually wanted. All right, Mike Tomlin's no dummy. Omar Khan is no dummy. They've been doing this successfully for years at this point. By the way, 30 seconds on the shot clock. And it just amazes me, Coop, year after year. We went through it this offseason, and people are still eating the dog shit that Jerry Dulac feeds them. I don't know, man. Now, listen, I could look like a complete idiot with that rant if they end up taking Shedeur Sanders in the first round on Thursday. But I don't know, man. I just don't see it happening. All right, we got a couple more donations here. So I will send them to you. I will say we are still short, so we will get to these next donations, but we'll just go until the end, until we're done answering these two questions. We got Brandon Nicholson again with another $1. Appreciate you. Got a couple more questions coming in, so we'll answer these two questions, and if we don't get to the $100 mark, what are we at here? Another $30? Is that right? Another $30. We're $30 away at this point, guys. So we'll answer these two questions. If we don't have it by the end of these two questions, we will move on. DJ KJ with a 10. Appreciate you, DJ. Says for please do mock draft and don't forget May 28th. DJ, so that's his birthday. Cool. It's Coop's birthday too, by the way. You can't hear him. Oh, Grandpa's not. Yeah, my bad. But DJ, appreciate you. Then we got Dominic Schrader with a 5, says, I believe in McCord trading down in the first with the Lions, snagging another second, getting Harmon at 28, Caleb Johnson at 60, Deone Walker at 102, and McCord at 123. They did, and I heard from a source close to McCord that he believes that if he's there at 8, well, it's true. But we did hear from a source that McCord thinks that he's either going to go to the New York Giants or the Pittsburgh Steelers in round 3. So we'll see. And I actually think that I would be okay with that. If they ended up trading down, getting Harmon, Caleb Johnson at 60, Deone Walker's a very fun prospect, but I don't know if he's starter ready necessarily. So if you're looking for somebody to be an impact player day one, I don't know if Walker's that. And then McCord, somebody that throws with anticipation, good pre-snap processor, views the game like a pro, which I like. Not great arm strength. He's got a long release, kind of a shot put type of release. Don't love his throwing motion necessarily. And he throws a lot of interceptions, which I'm not sure Mike Tomlin would necessarily love either. But I have heard that the Steelers like him. So keep that in mind if they don't get Milroe in round 1. All right, we're $10 away. $10 away with a 20 from Wade Gray. He threw up the lob, Coop. Who's going to dunk it? Who's going to finish the alley-oop and get us to the fan-led mock? And he goes, here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. All right, man. I think we should give them another 2 minutes. 2-minute shot clock. If somebody puts in a 10. Oh! No shot clock needed. $10 super chat from Brandon Nicholson gets us over the top. Hey, we got another 10 from Jacob. Let's go. We will show those super chats here in just one moment here, guys, once our software catches up, and then we'll do this mock draft. Let's do this. Tell me about it. That's why I don't like this studio for lives, man. All right, we will get to these super chats momentarily from Jacob and Brandon getting us over the top. So we will do this fan-led mock draft today, and we'll see what you guys do. I'm excited to see who you guys pick. So $10 from Brandon says, let's get it. And then Jacob says, boom. Let's go, Jacob. Everybody show some love to Jacob, Brandon, and of course, I believe his name is Ryan, right? Mr. Ryan. Wayne. Show your love to Wayne, show your love to Brandon, and show your love to Jacob for getting us over the top. Yes. Set on turbo, yes. All right, so here we go. Yeah. All right. So we've got the mock draft simulator up here for PFF. There it is. So start draft to number 21. And just to keep it easy, we're not going to trade down. So even though I think we would all love to trade down, we're going to keep it easy. No trade downs. All right, so now we're at 21. Who are the quarterbacks available? So Jalen Milroe, Shedeur Sanders has been taken. All right, so we got, I'll give you guys 2 quarterback options here, okay? We will go Jalen Milroe. We will give you the option for Jackson Dart. No, not Tyler Shuck. Well, actually, sure. We'll give you Tyler Shuck, and then show me the DTs available here. Actually, we're going to take Tyler Shuck off. Yeah. So right now the only one there's Derek Harmon. I'll put Derek Harmon on there because Walter Nolan didn't get a formal combine meeting or a top 30 visit. So the Steelers don't seem interested in Walter Nolan. Apparently, their area scout probably got some bad reports on him. Yeah, I mean he's got good film. He does, man. So we'll put Derek Harmon. No, running back here. Let's see who is Omarion Hampton still on the board here. He is, so we will put Omarion Hampton on the board as well. All right, go vote. You got a minute. You've got a minute. If we want to put a timer on, that'd be good. You guys got a minute to go vote. We got 218 people watching. By the way, we have a live poll, so you have to vote in the live poll, not the live chat. All right, so look for the live poll and vote. All right, right now we've got 33 votes. Omarion Hampton is running away with it, but Jalen Milroe is catching him. Who should the Steelers take? 45 seconds. Go vote. Go vote right now. Derek Harmon is at 18%. Jackson Dart is at 8%. So Jalen Milroe is right behind Omarion Hampton. 42% are saying Hampton at this point. Milroe is behind him by 10 percentage points. 20 seconds to go. Go vote in the chat. Go vote in the live poll for the first round pick of this fan-led mock draft. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is it. Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina, to pair with Aaron Rodgers is the pick for the Steelers. Now we go all the way to our pick at number 83. And now let's look at quarterback. See if the Milroe's still on the board here, potentially. So Tyler Shuck is still on the board, so I will put Shuck on there. But honestly, like, you can get... Yeah, McCord. I'll put McCord on there. Show me DTs. Jamari Caldwell. Maybe they got JJ Pegues, my guy, on there, but I don't know, man. Well, I'll put JJ Pegues on there. And then, is there a safety or corner that's really good? Kevin Winston Jr. is still available, my number 2 safety in this entire class. What about corners? Yeah, if it's anybody, it's going to be Kevin. Jacob Parrish has got to be the corner that we put on here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Kevin Winston Jr. on there instead of Kyle McCord. So we'll have Tyler Shuck as the quarterback option. So we'll have a lot of different options here. We'll have a quarterback, a safety, a defensive tackle, and a corner. All right, poll is up. Go vote in the live poll. It's down in the comments section. Go vote down there in the chat. We took Omarion Hampton, running back out of UNC, with the first pick. And by the way, if he's there, Coop, I think it's a pretty decent chance they take him. Now, if they really want Milroe, then maybe even if he's on the board, they still trade down and take Milroe. It depends, I think, on how good they feel about the running backs on day 2 and day 3. If they feel like Hampton can be a day 1 impact player as a number 1 running back, all I'm going to say, man, is that it'd be tough to let him go, to not take him at 21. 12 seconds, 10 seconds, and Tyler Shuck. But Kevin Winston Jr. is right on his tail. 5, 4, 2, 1, and it's Tyler Shuck. 26-year-old quarterback out of Louisville gets taken in round 3. So Omarion Hampton and Tyler Shuck are the first 2 picks. And now we get to round 4, and I'm definitely looking at DT here. Pegues still on the board? He is, so he once again will be on the board. Let's look at corner. It's too early. It's too early for him, in my opinion. What? No. Keep scrolling for a second. Keep scrolling. Yeah, this is too early for corner, in my opinion. Go to safety. Jalen Reed's on the board. I'm going to put him on there because I took him in my mock draft in round 5, but he's available here at this spot. Pretty good safety. Kyle Williams is still on the board. I got to put Kyle Williams in there. Reminds me a lot of Deontay Johnson, only without the attitude issues and the running backwards. And he's just a really good route runner, man. Yeah, sounds good. Then we need one more player here. Maybe another defensive interior player. Should we go Ty Robinson? No, don't need edge. What is the position that we look? Corner. Look at corner again for me. I know Steelers fans are very high on Justin Wally out of Minnesota. And PFF ranks him at 136. So this would be the last chance we really have to get him. So I'll put Justin Wally on there. See how much Steelers fans like him. All right, poll is up. Go vote. Go vote. You got 45 seconds. Got 224 people watching. We've already taken Omarion Hampton, running back out of UNC, and Tyler Shuck, quarterback out of Louisville in the 3rd round. So go vote down there in the comments. Right now we got 34 votes, 50% of JJ Pegues, which would line up perfectly with my pick in the 4th round, Coop. I took Pegues in the 4th round of my final mock. And then other than that, there's some support for Kyle Williams here, but it's mostly Pegues, and that is where it's at. 45% of the vote is the final tally. JJ Pegues out of Ole Miss is the pick. Still there? Wow. All right. Kyle Williams continues to fall to us here in round 5. So we're going to put him on there. Is Jalen Reed still here? We just took a DT. Yeah, Jalen Reed is still here. Is there a corner? Yeah. Justin Wally's still there. So three of all the players that we didn't take in the last round are still there. Let's look at best available here. I could probably put Mickens in there. Yeah, let's put Mickens in there. He's another safety that the Steelers have looked at this year. I think he could be a potential sleeper. He had a meeting at the Combine with the Steelers, a formal. All right, here we go. So next slate here is on the board. Next pick, you got 40 more seconds. All right, Kyle Williams, Jalen Reed, Justin Wally, or R.J. Mickens. Go vote. The early vote favors Kyle Williams with 23 votes in. You got to vote in the live poll. Got to vote in the live poll that's in the chat. So you got 20 seconds left. I mean, right now, you just look at the best available. Kyle Williams, the 63rd overall player on the PFF board. Really good route runner. It could give you some insurance that if Pickens demands a trade out of Pittsburgh, that you're not going to be left without a number 2 receiver. I think Williams could be a number 2 receiver right away. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Kyle Williams at a steal in round 5, ladies and gentlemen. Phenomenal pick by you guys. Honestly, this mock might be better than mine. All right, so now we get to round 6. I believe this is round 6, or is this round 5? This is round 6. All right, that's what I thought. So Mickens is still there. Still haven't taken a safety. Yeah, why not? We could probably add Ty Robinson, maybe best player available. Jalen Reed's still there. All right. So we already took a safety, so you're not going to take Jalen Reed. So wait, did we take a safety? We didn't take a safety, did we? No, we haven't. So we still need a safety. There's a couple pretty good ones still on the board here, and then Justin Wally's still available as well. So, all right, next slate on the board here. R.J. Mickens, Ty Robinson, Jalen Reed, and Justin Wally. What do you guys want? Reed is a kind of a toolsy type of safety. Kind of reminds me of Juan Thornhill. Justin Wally is kind of like Beanie Bishop Jr., where he's got a nose for the football, big-time playmaker, but he's bigger than Beanie is. Mickens had a really good finish to his college season last year at Clemson. But this one's close. We got 38% for Jalen Reed. 15 more seconds here as more votes come in. Could we see a comeback for Mickens? It looks like it's going to be a safety of some sort. Oh, no. Justin Wally's getting some traction here. 2, 1, and it's Jalen Reed's safety out of Penn State. Another really good pick for this fan-led mock. So we got one more pick. By the way, the results of this mock will be posted on our community channel Oh my goodness, man. We're in round 7 and Ty Robinson has fallen to 229? I mean, this is insane. So Ty Robinson, no. As is a Steelers talk tradition, I'm going to put Jack Sperry, nose tackle, on the list. Justin Wally. I don't want to get another safety, so we need to find one more person other than Mickens. Just go down, just see who's all there. Ty Hamilton is a pretty decent run defender. What wide receivers are still available? Jalen Travis is still on the board, man. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Will Shepard. Keep going. Yeah, he made some big plays for Shadur last year, that's for sure. Keep going. Yeah, keep going. I'm hoping that my guy Watkins is still there. Nope. I don't even think Watkins is on the PFF big board this year, which is a joke. Watch the Arkansas film there, Trevor Sikkema. Okay, go to – there's nobody that I really like at wide receiver, so yeah, that's around 7. So go back to best available and just scroll until I find somebody. Let's just go Ty Hamilton here, who's more of a run defender. So, huh? Yeah, they could take 2. I took 2 in my final mock. Check defensive tackles. Is Yaya Black still on the board? Because I think he could be an awesome run defender. Desmond Watson. Should we include him? Nah. Is Yaya Black still down there? No. Should we go Ty Hamilton or Desmond? All right, we're putting Desmond on there. What's his last name again? Desmond Watson, like the 460-pound nose tackle. All right, go vote. Ty Robinson, Justin Wally, Desmond Watson, or Jack Sperry. Who do you guys want? It's a close vote, man. I got to say, last year, I think I got 100% of the vote for our 7. And the year prior, I think I got 100% too. 5 seconds to go. It looks like it's going to be Ty Robinson. Hey, I can't disagree with it, man. You don't want me playing nose tackle for the Steelers. So Ty Robinson is the pick. Coop, if you can download the results and then send those to me, that would be great. So we can take a look here. Yeah, click download image, and that's how. It'll just download to his computer. All right, so go down. Let's take a look at our work here. Omarion Hampton, first round running back out of UNC. Then Tyler Shuck. I mean, PFF is lower on Shuck, so they gave us an F for taking him in the 3rd round. JJ Pegues in round 4. Kyle Williams, a steal in round 5. Jalen Reed, who I think is going to go like round 5. He falls to round 6 here. I think that's a phenomenal value. And then Ty Robinson out of Nebraska, another great value, super productive for Nebraska last year, falls all the way to round 7. That's an A-plus pick right there. Same thing with Kyle Williams. So this is a pretty darn good mock draft here, people. If I do say so myself, grade the mock draft down there in the comments section. Coop and I have to go here. It's already 6:10 here, Central Time here in Dallas, Texas. We got more work to do getting ready for our live coverage of the NFL Draft starting on Thursday. So thank you guys so much for contributing today. We will see you guys next time. Until next time, here we go, Steelers.